episode of the AGNCY ATX Creators Podcast. I'm your host, Sterling Coker. So I've been sick for the past couple of days. Definitely feeling a lot better today, but it was a solid, probably 4 days. I was just not feeling good, totally under the weather. Yeah, man. Stay healthy, coughing up a bunch of stuff. Aside from that, I've been just slowly adding stuff into the office. I'll do an office tour probably here in the next month or so. I really want to add a lot more to it. I want to make the setup just a little bit more startup office you know what I mean? Just kind of like these new tech companies. And I've been working on the office a lot lately. I have been working on the website. Again, always user testing. Definitely user testing on myself, user testing with just people in my life, friends, family, stuff like that. Always just trying to get their feedback on the site, always trying to get their feedback on my social media channels, if they're interacting with it, if they're engaging with it, let's just start off with that, right? That's a good strategy or a good way to kind of assess your strategy. Excuse me. A way to assess your content and the stuff you post, because if people are engaging with it, right, people that wouldn't maybe typically care about something in your industry, right, say it's a friend or a family member that follows you on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, if you post something that's interesting enough about your business, about your industry, about whatever it is you're doing or you're working on, people will engage with it, even if it could be say you're a tax attorney, right? You can make a really interesting piece of content that someone who typically wouldn't care about taxes or tax attorneys, and then obviously use that piece of content to engage with them and keep them engaged. So, I just wanted some strategies to think about. I think today we're going to be talking about brand strategy. Brand strategy is going to have a lot of stuff that we've talked about in the past, right? Because there's just a lot of elements to your brand strategy, right? Because when you start talking about the strategy behind your brand, right, you're really thinking about, like in our previous episode, brand placement. You're thinking about your social media strategies, which channels you're going to use, which channels are going to be relevant with your brand and relate with your brand. Or you could flip the coin and say, well, how can I make my brand relevant on these platforms? How do I make my brand native to these platforms? How do I make it, really intertwined with the culture? So today we're going over brand strategy. Some of the elements of brand strategy, like I was talking about: brand identity, brand positioning, brand personality, and then of course, brand strategy. Again, I'm looking at my slides. You can check these out on Instagram at AGNCYTX, and always posting stuff there. So let's talk about brand identity, right? So brand identity is going to be essentially what people see, the front end, right, of your brand, right? So for example, your logo, the text you use. Are you using a primary text and a secondary text for your branding? Are you using colors, like color schemes? Are you using templated colors? What does your brand look like? What does your logo look like? What kind of emotions do the colors incite? What kind of what do people think when they think of your brand name? Is it related to anything? Does it sound like something else? Is it related to your industry? Is it related to a completely different industry? Is it a completely made up word? So just some things to think about when you're really thinking about the identity of your brand, right? What is your brand? What does it stand for? What is it? What are the colors? What are the fonts you're using? How many different logos do you have? Do you have banners for each different social media, platform? Are you utilizing the profile icon? How are you using that with your brand? What does that look like? And then is it congruent, right? Does it flow between all your platforms? Does your brand on Facebook look like the same brand on Instagram? And does it look like the same brand on Twitter, right? So a few questions to ask yourself, and just some things to keep in mind. So let's talk about brand positioning. Again, referring to the previous episode with brand placement. Brand positioning is essentially the where, right? So where are people seeing your brand? Is it online or is it offline, right? There's two great strategies, online and offline. You could post flyers at local places, local coffee shops about your brand, inciting questions, or just basic asking people, hey, do you need this service? Or hey, here's a phenomenal product. And are you placing your brand like in relevant places? So let's go to online, right? So, for example, if you are let's say you own like a fishing store, right? Like a Bass Pro Shop type of thing. Say it's a huge Bass Pro type of thing. So where online would Bass Pro go, right? So if I were someone in Bass Pro's social media department, I would do things like look up hunting and fishing videos and how can I engage and interact with those kind of leaders in YouTube. You know what I mean? Those influencers. How can I connect with them? How can I engage with them? How can I bring value so that other people are seeing my brand, bring value to this influencer on social media, right? Are you finding, I would find hunting and fishing Facebook groups or, ATV Facebook groups. Man, the truck pages and ATV pages and stuff on Facebook, they're incredible. I mean, and Instagram too, right? These are all incredible, just really niche kind of industries and niche markets, right? Where you can engage and interact and bring value. So yeah, just some ideas for brand positioning there. And then this is also related to that as well, I would say, but brand personality, right? So does your brand have like a personality, right? Are you a savage on social media? Like who was it? Like Popeyes and Chick-fil-A, right? With the chicken sandwiches thing. Are you creating a kind of a battle online? Are you being edgy? Like what are you doing? How do people see your brand? How does it make them feel? Again, going back to the colors and the fonts, how are you interacting with others on social media? Are you do you get it, right? Are you relevant? Are you caught up with the times? And if not, if social media is something new to you, be yourself. What was it that inspired you to start your business or industry? What were those things? Put your own personal personality into it. So those are just a few ideas on that. So, and then basically all of these are your brand strategy. All of this leads to the brand strategy. That's the core of all this, right? Is the strategy behind your brand, where you're placing it, what your brand looks like, how does it make people feel, what does it make people do, right? Are you posting content that's making people take action, right? Are you user testing your social media posts and figuring out which ones are getting more engagement and why? So keep some of that stuff in mind when it comes to your just the entirety of your brand strategy, right? Are you interacting and engaging in relevant ways? Also hashtags, man, niche hashtags, especially on Instagram. There's so many niche hashtags that, so many niche communities that your brand could, play a part in. You can engage with all these people, you can bring value and really show people hey, we're relevant, we're up to date, we know what's going on, and we want to bring value. We want to, show people that your brand is valuable, your brand is worth paying for, your service is worth paying for, your product is worth paying for. And so these are the ways to really help you get in front of your target audience, get in front of the right demographic that's going to actually buy from you and actually be ready to buy when they see your posts or your ads or anything like that, right? So I think it's just gonna kind of finish it up for today. We'll make it a shorter episode today. Aside from that, man, we've just been I've just been cleaning and always working on the business, always updating, always scheduling out content, man. And but it's pretty crazy because the more even I use a lot of these strategies and tips and stuff, like, man, I can see the growth, I can see the progress, I can see just a lot of cool things happening, and I'm really excited for this year and kind of as we move through halfway, throughout the year. I'm constantly upgrading, updating, and yeah, it's so much fun to just learn about this technology and the software and the hardware as well, and learning about how it can help your business and things of that nature. So I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe, share this video if you see it on social media, and YouTube growth, let's get that going. I'm gonna be just kind of slowly working my way up, engaging on YouTube, commenting a little more, kind of just being part of the community, really. So I would appreciate follow, like, subscribe. Check out the slides on Instagram, AGNCYTX, and then of course check out our website, agncytx.com. Thanks. Peace.